S.H.FIGUARTS Green Goblin Spider-Man No Way Home was released on October 25th as a premium Bandai web exclusive and retails for 1,700 yen or 165 US dollars. Woo, that's a lot of dosh. As always, I bought my copy directly from Premium Bandai Japan, which means he wasn't available on your usual import retailers like Army or Hobbylink Japan, though Big Bad Toy Store and I believe Hobby Genki have this one in stock or still up for pre-order. So before Marvel Legends came in with their very own reveal of a No Way Home Green Goblin, this was the only option we had for a 6-inch MCU Norman Osborn for our desperately villainless Spider-Man collection, not including third party. I know a lot of people are opting to go with the Legends rendition with fair reason, as the Hasbro release looks phenomenal at a fraction of the price and comes with something the Figuarts doesn't, a Green Goblin mask. I've got my pre-order in and eagerly waiting its arrival in December, and you can bet your flaming pumpkin bombs that I'll be doing an in-depth comparison review with both goblins. But for now, let's take a look at this little beauty because there is a lot to like about this release. I'm not a big MCU figure collector, and when it comes to Marvel and DC, I'm a comic guy through and through. The only movie characters I've ever purchased or will ever consider purchasing is Captain America, Black Panther, and Spider-Man or Spider-Man related. It usually takes a lot for me to want a movie version of a beloved comic book character, but with Spider-Man, this was a must. Green Goblin is my all-time favorite Spider-Man villain, and come on guys, when are we ever going to get another highly articulated action figure of Willem Dafoe? And as soon as I saw this guy, the first thing that came to mind was Kamen Rider, which is kind of what this essentially is. One of my workmates who watched the Tobey Maguire series for the first time, the movie series for the first time, kind of laughed at the costume of, Green Goblin because he looks so much like Kamen Rider. And what do Figuarts specialize in? You got it, Japan's very own tokusatsu hero, Kamen Rider. If you collect the line, you'll know what I mean, but Tamashii do their best work with costume heroes with unique, often mechanical designs, and here you can see all that beautiful sculpted detail and metallic paintwork on old Gobby's suit here. I have a general idea of what the suit looks like, obviously from the movie, but I've never really kind of sat down and had a good look at every nook and cranny. I love all the mechanical details highlighted in this really shiny metallic paint, fused in with leather pouches, straps running across his chest, his shoulder, his back, purple bandages on the right arm, battle damage areas all over his body. It's kind of like the green metallic outer shell of the suit has chipped off through his many battles with Spider-Man, and what's left is this asymmetrical but kind of deliberate design and pattern. I'm not too sure how accurate this is to the final costume seen in the movie. I'm sure someone will tell me in the comments, but I believe this figure was based on an early concept art, which is probably why we didn't get the Goblin mask, and it looks like the right arm from memory is also missing the blades or weapon attachments he has on his left arm. Even the packaging is of the concept art or of a concept art design from earlier stages in the movie. The purple torn up hoodie is made from a softer rubbery plastic, which I think works really well here. Usually I do prefer cloth goods, but with a design like this where the hoodie / torn up cloak is supposed to lay and look a certain way, with all its rips, tears and holes, having a sculpted piece like this works much better. I will say though, it is a bit clean and could have done it with a wash or a bit of shading, but sculpt wise it looks great and functionally doesn't get in the way of articulation. Now for those all important head sculpts, because half of wanting this figure was for the Willem Dafoe head sculpts. And yes, these are some very good looking noggins. The likeness is definitely there. Tamashii did an excellent job in capturing Dafoe's likeness, shrinking it and popping it on a 6-inch bit of plastic. The only disappointing thing is that the facial expressions they went with is unfortunately, well, just a little bit plain, which is fine. And again, I think, Tamashii only had early designs of photos to work with, but still, I would have preferred a more sinister, crazier looking look for this head option. Don't get me wrong, these work just fine, and if you want a normal civvies Norman Osborn, then the head without the goggles will be great. Either way, they're great head sculpts, and the, 5 o'clock shadow or the mustache, It's not as prominent in hand, and again, it really captures Dafoe's resemblance. I just wanted to see a bit more crazy. And I just gotta say, William Dafoe is such a damn good actor. Couldn't have picked a better person for Green Goblin. He nails it as both personas. Alright, so let's take a look at this beautiful looking contraption. Boy, are those blades sharp. Just like the Goblin suit, this thing is littered with intricate details and textures. You get your purple aeronautical carbon fiber-ish texture on the top of the wings here. You get your vents on the main body, underneath the wings. The missiles are tipped in a shiny gold on both sides, and you even get moving pistons. I just love that little bit of extra functional detail. Speaking of moving parts, the wings do tilt up and down to give you a bit of variance when it comes to the glider's configuration. The footrests also swivel side to side and tilt up and down. You've also got these peg holes on the footrests, but no actual feet with pegs or replacement feet with pegs to plug them in, which seems kind of odd. I mean, why have them at all, right? Anyway, I'm not a big fan of how you secure the feet to the glider. Basically, it's just friction that's holding Goblin up, which is fine. It's not the most secure, but it's not loose either. But I just hate having to jam the feet into those footholes, worrying about scratching that beautiful paint up. Nothing has scratched so far, but just be careful not to force it too much. The whole glider is beautiful and is finished off in a very slick silver, again with little accents of gold to highlight the certain mechanical areas. There's a nice heft to it and feels quite solid in hand. There is a peg hole at the bottom of the glider for your Tamashii stands or whatever stands you use, though you'd need to tighten up those joints on the stand to keep it up due to all of the weight. Last little nitpick that I have is that I wish we could have gotten some green paint at the front of the exhaust here. I think that would have made the glider pop even more. Still, a gorgeous looking piece. Alright, so let's take a look at the articulation, starting with Green Goblin's head. And he looks up pretty well. Great for those crouching down on your glider poses, which you're going to need him to do. Norman does look down pretty well as well. You have the hooded piece here, so it's going to restrict a little bit of side to side. But you do get full range with a tilt. All in all, very good head articulation, assisted by a separate neck joint there, independent neck joint there. For shoulders, we do get butterfly joints, and I like how the butterfly joints there are sculpted in, which is nice. The shoulder pads are hinged. So you can move them out of the way, although if you tuck them in, that's how you're going to get him into a T-pose. .360 there at the shoulder. Upper bicep swivel. Double elbows. I'm going to pop the blade attachment back on. Very good range there. Swivels at the wrist. And of course you get hinges as well. We do get a diaphragm cut there at the ab crunch, so Norman does crunch forward relatively well. Back is pretty good, and because it is a ball joint going through the waist there, the ab there, you're going to get pretty good motion, pretty good movement, left and right, tilts, pretty much anything you want or anything that you need. And especially, Norman, Green Goblin, he's going to be crouching down on his glider most of the time. So you're going to need something more than a forward, traditional forward ab crunch. You're going to need that diaphragm articulation there. So, I mean, it's standard stuff for Figuarts, but definitely something that's very important. Looking at these pouches here that he has on the side, unfortunately, they are sculpted and glued onto the belt. The belt itself is actually glued onto the waist, so it's not going to go anywhere. They don't hinge, they don't, swivel in any way. They're not on ball joints. So when you have Norman kind of kicking out, he does kick out a little bit more on his right leg than he does on his left leg. But I mean, unless you want Norman to do like a side kick, it's alright. But we do get backward and forward with a lot more range than side to side. Again, it's because of this pouch here, this bag where I'm assuming he, stores all of his pumpkin bombs. It just gets in the way a little bit. We have upper thigh cut, double knees, not too bad. The armor does get in the way a little bit. Swivel at the feet. The foot does go down relatively well. Good range there. Up. Toe hinge. And of course, we get some pretty decent ankle pivot. And we get more range on the left foot than on the right foot because of this, the armor design on his right calf there. And I really do like this asymmetrical design. It might not be ideal for articulation because, you don't get as much range as you would on one side than the other, but it definitely makes up for it in aesthetics. All in all, it's more than enough articulation than you'll need for a Green Goblin, character, for the Green Goblin. So definitely very good articulation. Can get you in some, really good dynamic poses without his glider and of course with his glider as well. So before we move on, I actually want to show you what Norman looks like, or Green Goblin looks like, without his hoodie, which you can take off. And it doesn't take much effort because it's not glued in. It's a separate piece. And let's just get that to focus. All you really need to do is just pop off the hood piece. Both of these are separate pieces, as you can see. Just pop them off to one side. Pop Norman's head back on. And that's what he looks like without his purple hoodie. And when I see the figure like this in all this green, it looks really good and I like it. I love the battle damage, but I honestly do think it's a missed opportunity, to not include the Goblin mask, the Goblin helmet. I think if they included the Goblin helmet, it would have gone perfectly with this look. Would have given us, an extra, configuration for the Green Goblin without his purple hoodie. And I think it would have made this release even more worthwhile. But just to give you guys a look at what this figure looks like without the purple hoodie, there we go. While Green Goblin doesn't come with his mask, he does come with a hood, which is made of the same pliable soft plastic material used on the rest of his hoodie. To put it on, you just pop off the head, take off the hood down piece, and slip the hooded piece in between the hoodie itself. Easier said than done, but you're left with a very natural laying hood piece for Goblin, and because it is a separate piece, it does move with the head. Although your head articulation going up will be limited. For hands, Norman comes packed with a pair of fists, 2 open palm hands, a pair of open, I don't really know what to call them, but you can use them for all kinds of expressions, and a pair of pumpkin bomb holding hands. And to accompany those pumpkin bomb holding hands, you of course get a metallic orange pumpkin bomb with some green metallic paint in the center. He holds it pretty securely, so you don't have to worry about it falling out. Just be careful not to lose the little pumpkin bomb because it is tiny. Last but certainly not least, we get Green Goblin's retractable blades in its extended form, which comes as an attachment for his left arm. Again, beautiful sculpt, beautiful paint, blades are thin and sharp, and just pop onto his arm after you remove the retracted attachment. I just wish that they gave us a pair of blades for his right arm as well, which I believe is accurate to the final costume, I think. Anyway, they are a good length and definitely give Green Goblin that extra bit of intimidation. I really hate to make this into a comparison video before even having the Legends Green Goblin in hand, but I feel that probably what most of us really want to know is this still worth buying now that we have the Legends? I just want to make this clear. There is a lot going on for this release. Gorgeous aesthetics, fantastic articulation. That is more than you'll ever need for a Green Goblin. Two very Willem Dafoe heads, and a beautiful looking Goblin glider. And as much as I enjoy this release, $165 or 170 or 1,700 yen is still a hard pill to swallow, considering what Hasbro has to offer. I guarantee the paint won't be as premium and the sculpting probably not as sharp. Figuarts will always have better articulation, but Legends does come with an amazing looking head sculpt that captures that craziness I was looking for with the Figuarts. Throw in a goblin mask and it's getting pretty tough to choose between the two. But I think the biggest factor when considering both options is the huge price difference. The Legends goes for about $50 before tax. I believe out here in Japan he's closer to 85 or 90. Still, that's like $110, 8,000 yen difference, and I'm not sure if most casual collectors will find an extra $110 value in the Figuarts. So it really boils down to personal preference and what you value more or are willing to spend. They're both, well, I can't actually say that yet because I actually don't have the Marvel Legends versions, but one is a fantastic release, a little bit expensive albeit, and the other looks to be just as good for less. Choices are always a good thing, and hopefully you found this review a little bit helpful if you're still undecided. Anyway guys, thank you always for watching. Likes and comments are always appreciated, so make sure you drop us a like and drop us a comment. And I'll see you very soon in the next one. Yoroshiku!